And brave. I needed that. I really needed a boring Manchester City win. I'm so sick of all the nonsense this season, you know. Oh, look, we just thrown away a 2-goal lead. Oh, we've gone 1-0 behind, but we won anyway. Oh, this guy's injured. Oh, that guy's injured. Oh, he's another... Just stop it, City. I needed a boring, comfortable 2-0 win where we have all the ball and it's a little bit tedious at times and nothing really happens and you find yourself grabbing your phone even though you're trying not to, because it's a little bit boring. I needed that, and that's what we got tonight. City have just beat Leicester City 2-0. Leicester absolutely diabolical. God, they are shit. They are really, really bad, but I do not care. We have won. We're currently sat in fourth in the table. Obviously, Newcastle, Chelsea have got games to play, but I feel like we need to win 5 of the last 9 games to get Champions League football, and I still believe that's probably true given the fact that the teams around us are relatively inconsistent. They just beat each other or they drop points. 4 more out of the next 8, I reckon, probably does it. A couple of draws will probably get us there as well out of those. So this tonight was ultimately... a satisfying victory. It wasn't obviously a classic performance. It's the kind of game you forget until you see an aggregator account post 4 years from now. On this day, City beat Leicester 2-0 like 5 years from now. And you go, oh yeah, I sort of remember that. Marmoush scored, didn't he? What happened? Did you see the goal? You're, oh, it was a tap-in. And Haaland wasn't playing because he was injured. It's that kind of game that you forget exists. You know, until a few years from now, someone reminds you about it because someone mentions it on Twitter or something like that. It's that kind of game, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You need a boring win sometimes, and so many City title processions were built on tedious, boring wins where we just ground it out and we played some decent football. We got the goals and then we kept the ball, and that's what we saw tonight. But there were still some narratives that were pretty fun. The team itself was genuinely quite fun to witness, you know. I'll bring it up on screen right now as a better reference point. There was your starting 11. Edison of goal. We saw the team that ended the Bournemouth game in defence. No Kusanov in the squad today. I don't know what happened there. Not involved at all. But it meant a full Premier League debut for the boyhood blue Nico O'Reilly, the Manchester City fan from Manchester. He's been at City since he was about 8 years old. Started for the Premier League champions today at left back. And I was buzzing for him. He had a very good game where he belonged. Alongside Vardiel, left centre back again, Ruben Diaz and Mateus Nunes. Nico Gonzalez, I think it's his 6th Premier League start in a row, came into the team alongside the resurgent Ilkay Gundogan. Savinho on the right, Doku on the left. Jack Grealish got a rare slot in the centre, sort of dovetailing with Omar Marmoush, who played in the absence of Erling Haaland. And honestly, everyone did their job today. No one let the team down. Everyone was composed. Everyone did their role, and it was fun in spells to watch. And you know what? It was boring, but I can't complain. We've been crying out for a little bit, that I would argue, you know. The end-to-end transitions have been tiring. The constant peppering of our goal as we struggle to defend was tiring. And when you look at the stats from this goal, I mean, you don't have to believe in the stats in terms of XG or not if you don't want to, but you can't deny that, you know, going from all the big chances that we've been conceding recently to only having a 0.02 XG against, and that was the El Canouse long-range shot in the first half, is really refreshing. They created absolutely nothing other than a speculatively long-range effort in this game. And City have been so poor at that. You've only got to go back, and I'll try and find it actually. Let me go back to the results here. I'll go back to the Leicester game earlier on in the season. Where is it? As a reference point, there we go. We won that 2-0 away. But look, Leicester had plenty of chances against us. They were level with us in terms of quality. The XG was the same, basically. They had more big chances. They had more possession against us. We were poor. We were poor last time we played, and that was just before New Year. That was when we had a team of Kovacic, De Silva, De Bruyne, Haaland, a lot of big names in that team. Kanji, Ake. We were poor. So to go from that, and I know Leicester have got worse since then. To go from that to this today, look, I will take that every single minute right now, because we are not a great side right now. We're a pretty good one. We're just not a great one. And as the table says, we are currently the 4th best team in England. I will take that this season. We have been poor this year. been nowhere near our standards. But if you get Champions League football, if you can get the FA Cup, the worst season in our last decade could still be better than the vast majority of teams. And I will take that if it's a transition season. I truly would do. I know that sounds dramatic, but we can introduce some new young players, win a trophy, get Champions League football. We beat United to get the Community Shield and get the FA Cup as well. 2 trophies, 2 bits of silverware, while also getting top 4 or top 5 or whatever for Champions League football. It ain't that bad. On to the actual game itself. Obviously, a very early goal. I've got to give a shout out to the fans, actually. I want to talk about the City's home fans. Now, if you weren't paying attention, several thousand of City's fans stayed on the concourse as a protest about City constantly partnering with all these ticket reseller sites that take the fans' tickets and put an upmarket on them and sell them, when fans themselves can't even pass their tickets to a mate if they can't go to the game. City are very happy to take the ticket back and sell them for a profit. The Viagogo, the latest one. So fans, in protest at the 9 ticket reseller sites, spent the first 9 minutes of the game staying on the concourse, and good on them, man. Good on them. Make your voices heard. I wasn't there tonight, but I would have been there on the concourse with them. They missed a goal, which makes it even more vivid and more sort of, electric as a protest, because they missed something important, and good on them for doing that, because we're at a time where the cost of living is absurd. Companies are taking the piss out of hard-working people. City are, with the constant increases, with the reselling of tickets. Everything is business over common sense or loyalty. Stop exploiting loyalty. Good on those fans for staying on the concourse. Good on those fans for missing that goal and staying there and not coming out even though we scored. That is dedication to a cause. That is unity. That is camaraderie and brothership. And I want to give them the shout that they deserve, because look, I'm so sick of the fact that people are treated so shit these days across every industry. We're taking the piss out of from every single angle. So that was a wonderful protest and a lot of unity there, and very good to see. The goal itself was a really nice goal. Doku picked out Savinho. Savinho, as he always does, created a big chance. He created a few in this game. Come on. I mean, if Trisco talking about the performances are irrelevant, mate. They're irrelevant to it, I would argue. But anyway, Doku picked out Savinho. Savinho cut it back to Grealish. You had a relative tap-in. It's kind of chance we missed a lot this season, but it was a good finish, and it set the tone for the game. And look, City were absolutely dominant, 73% possession. I think 18 shots to there too. We weren't electric in terms of creating chances, but we had a few good moments. There was a few nice spells of possession, a couple of decent little half chances where some good link-up play between Doku and Grealish and Gundogan. Savinho and Marmoush clearly had a little bit... I get that interest. Yeah, but I can see why, people would feel, about the value and the games currently this season. It feels particularly hard to take. But anyway, back to the actual football. Marmoush and Savinho had a good link-up. Marmoush got another goal in the absence of Erling Haaland. Like Marmoush, you can say a lot about Marmoush, but the guy's clearly a killer. He clearly has confidence in front of goal, and he clearly will score goals if you give him chances. This was one of the easier chances you'll ever get. It wasn't like a tap-in from like 4 yards, but the keeper spilled it right at his feet, and all you had to do was put it in the back of the net, and he did via the crossbar for another goal. I think his 3rd game in a row that he scored for Man City now. He's scoring regularly these days. 39 goals or assists in 39 games this season across 2 leagues and multiple competitions. He's a freakishly talented footballer, and he'll continue to score goals if you give him chances. I really like Marmoush. Looks a cracking signing. Other than that, the game sort of strolled out. In the first half, City, created a few more chances. In the second half, we didn't really create much other than a few half chances. But we were largely fine, largely in control, and had very little to do, So I was, I was very relaxed, very relaxed how it played out. We're talking about the individuals. Ederson had absolutely naff to do, so I can't really talk about him. He had one interception where he came out of his goal. Quite nice. Nunez was comfortable. 1 or 2 nice little dribbles. Tried to overlap Savinho a few times, but had very little defending to do. But what he did it in collective unison with his teammates. With City hunting in packs. Nunez was fine. Diaz, Vardial. Look, the whole defence was composed. What I liked about today, when you compare the shit show that was City's defensive structure over the past few months, going back to the Winter Blues in particular, City was so negative, so open, we were neglectful, I would say, defensively. Like, there was no runners, no one hunting in packs. The pressing was terrible. But look at City now. Every time Leicester got the ball, and they are dog shit for what it's worth, they truly are, but City were on them. There were the amount of times I saw young players, physically imposing players, running all over, Leicester was just so refreshing to see. They were hunting in packs. Nico O'Reilly, by the way. Nico O'Reilly, look, I understand that Guardiola is risk adverse, but you can't be any more with this guy. Guardiola came out and said after the Bournemouth game, I'm going to paraphrase here because I can't be asked to find the exact quote, but Guardiola said he's always had a feeling, and once again, I'm paraphrasing, but he's somewhat along the lines of he's always had a feeling that he shouldn't put the young players in the big moments, big games, because he doesn't want them to be crushed by it if it doesn't go well. He doesn't want them to feel like they have to solve it. He doesn't want to hinder them, basically. But he said, what I've noticed at City and Barcelona, he said, what I've noticed is that these players, young players, aren't scared. So maybe I am wrong. And I would think he is wrong. Because I think if you're an elite level Manchester City academy player and you get to Manchester City's first team, you are not normal anyway. You are better than the average academy player. For one, because you've lasted till the age of 18 at Manchester City's academy in the first place. That clearly speaks volumes for your intelligence, but not just your intelligence and your technical ability, for your mentality. You cannot get to Manchester City's first team squad without being intensely focused in what you do. You have to be a proper professional. Do you remember people like Brandon Barker or Jayden Braff, the one that everyone wanted at Manchester City? Where is he now these days? He didn't get to Manchester City's first team despite being incredibly talented because his mentality wasn't there. If you are Nico O'Reilly or Rico Lewis or Phil Foden or Oscar Bob and you're playing for Manchester City, it's because your head is in the right place. So I think Guardiola hopefully has realised that these guys can handle it. They don't feel the pressure because they are fearless young footballers who believe that they're going to be capable of playing at the very top. So he said that after the Bournemouth game, and hopefully he's realised it. Now, it could be that because Kusanov, I don't know what's going on with Kusanov. He's not there today. I don't know if anything's been said. I'll check in a minute. But what I do know is that Nico O'Reilly got his chance tonight, a lifelong City fan, and he played as a starting left back, and he was absolutely, totally, utterly at home. Physically imposing at 6'5", technically comfortable as you'd expect from a midfielder, a creative midfielder that. Very useful when he played in the pockets, getting forward. As you'll see, he had a lot of touches around there. It was on the ball an awful lot. 63 passes out of 72 completed. A key pass as well. He won 5 out of his 7 ground duels. He won 1 of his 3 aerial duels. Lost the ball a few times, but that's like sort of when you try to attempt to cross or whatever, which is fine. It's normal. 3 clearances. He was absolutely comfortable in this role. He's clearly, utterly ready for first team football. Be it Bournemouth, be it Leicester today. I'm not saying he's going to start every single game, but he's clearly ready for physical first team football Premier League level. Like, if he's a squad player next season, you don't need a Vardiel backup. Keep Nico O'Reilly. Let him play as much as he needs to because Nico O'Reilly is clearly suitable. And that is the big realisation for me, is that you don't need to get someone else in. Nico O'Reilly is 6'5". He's got the technique of an attacking midfielder. He's comfortable. He's confident. He's strong. He's fast. He's a Manchester City fan. He costs nothing. He can play in multiple positions. I'm not saying start him every week. Just keep him here, man. Keep him around the team. And once again, he affects games. And he's shown a lot in games where he's got forward and created goals or scored goals. Yeah, he's cracking. He's a cracking footballer, and I'm very, very excited to see how he develops in Manchester City. A couple of super chats. Thank you so much to Brian. Brian said we need some chemistry back next season. Of course, the best chemistry always comes from top-class players who understand each other. I thought I saw some signs of that today from Savinho Marmoush, or Marminho, as I've been calling him in my head today. Chemistry comes from repetition, and repetition comes from opportunity. So it's one of those things where, like, you can't have chemistry unless you're smart enough to have it, but you get smart players on the pitch and let them sort of vibe off each other, and that's what you get. So I agree. I think we'll get more of that when Rodgers back on the pitch too. Brooks said, and thank you so much, mate, he said, as always, appreciate your positivity. No happy clapping, rather staying focused and keeping perspective. We have to focus and earn it. Yeah, thank you so much, mate. Look, I will always call it as I see it, but I will not pretend that everything is a true disaster. I probably said that a few times in videos this season where I have acted that way. But, I'm only human and I'm emotional. But ultimately, I was chatting to a United fan today, do some stuff ahead of the Manchester Derby at the weekend. And they were arguing that City had a worse season than United in terms of the expectations. People act like this City this season. They act like we are like 17th or 13th where United are. That we fall on that. I know we fall first. We're currently 4th, but it hasn't been. It's been crap, I would argue, but it's not been a true disaster. This season hasn't been a disaster, because if it was a disaster, we'd be currently sat in 10th. That is the reality. You don't have to agree, but I think we lose perspective sometimes of just how bad. Like, you look at, like, do you remember when Chelsea dropped off under Mourinho? They were like 12th when he got sacked. We'd never been anywhere near that bad, and we had a really bad run, but we've recovered, and currently we're the 4th best team in the league. That means we're better than 8% of the sides in the country. So look, as much as, you know, I think we've been poor this season by our standards. Sorry, mate, Cheddar baby. I don't know what to say about that, pal. I'll put the mic a bit further away for you. But as much as we've been poor by our standards, we also we haven't been truly disastrous. It's clearly a season of transition. I do see good signs. I see a younger team. I go through the team today once again. Look, Ederson and goal, of course, older, but Núñez mid-20s, Diaz mid-20s, Guardiola 23, Nico O'Reilly 20, Nico Gonzalez 23, Gundogan older, of course, Savinho 20, Grealish 29, Doku 22, Marmoush mid-20s. It's like one of those things where it's a lot more younger. There's legs around him, and I think the legs have made such a difference. Look at Gundogan, by the way, for the last few weeks. Gundogan looks back to Gundogan again. His fitness has got better. He's got legs around him. He's concentrating on his own game more, because the physicality of Nico Gonzalez, Nico O'Reilly, Vardial, Grealish, Doku, Savinho, all these people can run, has made a massive difference, man. I don't think we're a world-class side right now, but we're a pretty good one, getting better. Back through the team again. Look, I like Savinho. I'm not going to tell you Savinho's world-class, but I think he's very good. And 20 years old. Key pass is 5 today for him. Look, he creates chances, man. He got an assist today. He always creates chances, Savinho. His finishing obviously needs to be better, but there's clearly an impeccable knack of creating chances. Yeah, I think he's a brilliant footballer. Really instinctive link-up play with Marmoush. I think Marmoush is vibrant. I think he enjoys the creativity of him. Marmoush himself today got the goal, of course. I mean, I thought he was good. He's probably slightly better at Haaland in the hold-up play, because he's more of a midfielder stroke attacker as opposed to a striker. But, you know, he kept the ball today. Only 2 passes misplaced, 39 touches. He works hard as well, you know. He won his aerial duels, won most of his ground duels as well. Yeah, I like him. I don't think he was perfect today, but I think he's obviously more than suitable for this side, and a cracking signing who has an eye for goal. I like Jack centrally today as well. I thought Jack Grealish, I don't think he was terrible today. Someone said he wasn't it today. I actually thought he was pretty good today, to be honest, Jack Grealish. Plenty of touches on the ball. Some really nice, intelligent movements where he fed Doku. He needs to shoot better, we know. That one way he wanted a penalty. What are you doing, Jack? Take 2 less touches and shoot. But there was... I don't think he disappeared after that goal at all. He played in Doku for one chance, which led to... Marmoush putting it over. He also played a lovely little 1-2 with Grealish, which led to another Marmoush chance. Not Grealish, with Gundogan, sorry. He had a few chances, so I don't really think that's true. A couple of key passes. I'm not saying he was electric, but I think Grealish worked really hard going backwards, showed a bit of maturity. Look, I'm not saying he was great, but I think he had a good game today. And Doku did have his best game today. Like, he had a couple of chances that he created. He's actually good today, but he wasn't as his electric best. Look, only 2 dribbles out of 6 completed today, which is very, very un-Doku-esque. But he was still fine. We also got to see the return of Oscar Bob, which was absolutely beautiful. Oscar Bob, look, he didn't have the biggest game ever, Oscar Bob, but he only had like 10 minutes. But I was buzzing to see the roar of the crowd for Oscar Bob. The Etihad know just how special Oscar Bob is. It must feel weird if you're watching City, you're not really fully versed in City lore, so to speak, because Oscar Bob, you probably think he's just an academy player, he's barely played. But I think City fans and regular City watchers know just how talented Oscar Bob is. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant footballer, and him coming back on the pitch, only had a couple of touches, but being back around the first team, I feel like he was robbed of a breakout season this year, and I think he could have been a really positive impact on our season too. Yeah, a great talent. It's brilliant to see him back on the pitch as well. We saw a cameo as well from McAtee, which was quite sprightly. Vitor Reis got on for a couple of minutes. Nico Gonzalez, by the way, today, look, I really like Nico Gonzalez. Quietly composed and strong. 96% pass accuracy, only 3 passes misplaced. So aggressive in the hunting. He says he only won 1 out of his 4 ground duels there. I swear I saw him win a few. But very good in the air. Pretty much won all of his headers. Rarely gives the ball away. Yeah, Nico Gonzalez knew where to be and when to be there. He got caught on the ball towards the end, which he has to be better at. But, you know... yeah, but overall, pretty decent. I enjoyed today. I enjoyed it because it was boring. I enjoyed it because very little happened. I enjoyed it because we needed that. And we are hunting down the top 5. I felt we needed 5 wins out of 9 to guarantee top 5 football beforehand. Now it's just 4 out of 8, I would argue. Yeah, so today we got what we needed. A couple of quotes here from Grealish. Grealish said, in the second half, Leicester sat back a lot more. It was difficult to break them down. The main thing when you're winning 2-0 is not give them chances, and I don't think they had a shot in the second half. It was difficult to get to the third, but we're happy to get the win and clean sheet. Yeah, they were so aggressively defensive. He said, as soon as I scored, I knew this would be what people would say, but listen, this season I've not been at my best, even last season. But I feel even when I played, especially in 2025, I've only started 3 or 4 games. I've not started in the Premier League since Christmas, but I was happy I started tonight, happy to score. Yeah, well, Jack, yeah, he's defending himself there, but ultimately, mate, it's on you, really, pal, to be honest. Guardiola would love to start you, pal. If you play in the same way that you did in... and I like him, by the way, for what it's worth. I think he's a nice lad and all that. But if you're playing the same way as you did in the treble, you'd probably be getting more starts, mate. But yeah. Anyway, comfortable victory. I'm going to leave it there because I'm knackered today. 1 step closer to top 5. I'll do 5 things learned tomorrow. I like that. I enjoyed it. It was refreshing. It was easy. Roll on the derby. Bye-bye. Like the video, subscribe.